Hi, welcome back to the Working Mom. So today we've got a little something different to talk about, and it's something that I hear a lot of working moms particularly, but parents in general. Um, but I'm going to really focus on the working mom, obviously, and that's mom guilt. What I'm calling mom guilt, and I think that's a pretty generic term. So as working parents and as working mothers, and particularly, I believe, working mothers, we have a lot of guilt. A lot of guilt for many reasons. One, that we're not stay at home parents. So we're not the sole provider of our kids' care Monday through Friday, 8 to 5:30. Additionally, um, we have to be away sometimes. So we have late evenings, you might have some travel, you might have some weekends. When you come home, you're tired, and sometimes we don't feel like we're giving our kids our best. And so it can end up with guilt for that, because everyone wants to be the best parent they can be. And I think as mothers, there's a lot of additional pressure on the mom, particularly to be an amazing parent. I think fathers are expected to go to work, have late nights, travel sometimes, have some weekends where they have to work, and moms are expected to be the super parent, and today are forced to work and sometimes are the breadwinner. I believe there's some statistics that are coming out showing that moms are becoming more and more the breadwinner and not dads. So it leads to a lot of guilt, a lot of parental guilt, particularly, not just guilt in general. So, first of all, I want to talk about how this is very deconstructive to your self-esteem and your self-confidence and your self-concept. If every day you're talking about how bad you're doing something, anything, but particularly something very serious to you, which is your parenting, you are going to just slowly chip away at your self-confidence and how you see yourself and your self-concept. You're going to stop seeing yourself as a good person doing their best. You're going to start seeing yourself as someone that's not trying as hard, someone that's not doing the things that they should be doing, and it's just going to slowly chip away at you, and you're going to have a hard time feeling good about anything that you're doing, because this really important thing, this parenting of yours, you're telling yourself every day how terrible you are at it. So first of all, that's one way that it can be very, very destructive. A second way it can be destructive is that it occupies your mind from things that you really are doing well, and things that you should be focusing on in the moment. So if you're taking 20-30 minutes to stress or cry or, just decompress from these feelings, well, that's 20-30 minutes you should be spending with your kid. Why not? That's what you're upset about with time spent with your child. So cut yourself some slack and just spend some time with your child, and you will probably feel a lot better. And then second, guilt leads to stress, and stress, we all know the negative, very, very negative health effects that stress can have on your body, with higher cortisol levels. For me, I feel like sometimes it's causing premature graying. So it negatively affects your overall health if you're carrying around all of this stress. It can lead to, or all of this guilt, which can lead to stress, which can lead to anxiety. And it can debilitate you, weaken your immune system. We know the list of things that can go awry with stress in our life. So, second reason it's no good, it's going to hurt your health. And so the third thing I want to talk about when we talk about mom guilt is how do we overcome it, and how do we understand it? The first thing we have to understand is you're not the only one that feels this way. So take that into consideration, that you're not going to be the only mom that feels guilty because they have to work, or feels guilty that they have maybe a high level position that takes a lot of hours as well. So just understand, first and foremost, you're not the only one. And second, you need to create a new pattern of thought processes. So your mind really can only occupy one thought at a time. And if that one thought is negative, then it's going to snowball into the things that I was just talking about, negative self-image, and potentially poor health consequences. So if we take that moment when you're like, oh, I'm a terrible mom because it's 7 o'clock and I'm just getting home and I wasn't the one that gave my kids dinner, or I didn't give them a bath. Take that moment and you got to change that pattern right then and there. And almost like you're training your dog to use the bathroom outside, you got to train yourself not to have those thoughts and replace that thought with something else. So if you're beating yourself up because you're home at 7, retrain yourself to say, oh, I'm so excited to get to put my kid to bed because I love this time and we have such a bond, and so I'm so thankful that I get to put my kid to bed. Or if you're just beating yourself up because you're a working parent altogether, this kind of leads into my next point, which is, are you being the parent that you want your kids to one day grow up and be? So for me, with my daughter, yeah, I do want her to grow up. I do want her to be independent and self-sufficient, and I do want her to have goals, and I do want her to work hard towards those goals. And that will mean she's a working professional and potentially the breadwinner. And so I am being the example. I have to tell myself all the time, I am being the example that I want my daughter to be. I am being the example of the kind of woman I want my son to marry. So you've got to train yourself. So every time you're like, oh my God, I just wish I could stay at home and be with them, remind yourself, but I am being a great example to them of what a woman should be and can be, and start to retrain those thoughts. And finally, and this I have to tell myself a lot as well, is a little bit of guilt is okay. A little bit of guilt, what it tells you is it really means something to you. It's like when you get nervous before a big presentation. If you weren't nervous, it would mean that that presentation or that client didn't really matter. You didn't really feel the pressure that anything was on the line. And so if you're feeling guilty about your parenting and am I being a bad mom, it means it's really important to you and you understand that there is a lot online when you're a parent. There's a lot more responsibility to be a parent than to not be a parent, and you get the gravity of it. And you gotta remind yourself, like, yes, I understand the effort, the workload, the outcomes that comes with being a parent. And yes, I do understand that I'm not going to be perfect, but I'm going to take this as just what it is, that everyone goes through this. I am being the good example that I want my kids to go through. And because I feel guilty, it means that I understand the importance and value of good parenting. And because I understand that, I know I'm going to work really hard every day to be a good parent. And so when I do fall down and I'm not a good parent, I know I'm going to pick myself back up and I'm going to keep on trucking and I'm going to make it right. And if you consider the mom guilt from those perspectives, and every day you got to remind yourself of it, you're going to feel better about it. You're going to feel less stressed about it. And then, you might not feel the guilt in the same way. It might not bring you to tears. You're just going to feel it differently if you just continually retrain that thought pattern. So I hope this was helpful for all of the working moms that are out there. It's really difficult to be a working mom, and that's why I started this whole channel. How to be a great mom and how to be a great professional. And then how to balance the both and put them all together. So I hope this was valuable to you watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and please share, because mom guilt it eats away at a lot of parents today. And so please share And don't forget to comment. And you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Rock Road Coach. Until next time, bye.